This category falls under the Erasmus program that will be funded by the European Commission. So the name is International Credit Mobility KA171. So who can apply? Universities, private companies, public bodies, SMEs, startups, research centers, hospitals, all let's say universities and industries can apply as well for this particular funding. And who can benefit from that? Bachelor's, master, PhDs, these all students can benefit from them from this program in a way that okay, they will go for a mobility, or let's say for mobility of 2 to 6 months, or let's say for the staff it is like a 2 days to 2 months. We'll talk about more about it, but in this particular slide, that what we want to focus on is that who can apply. Universities and probably all the industries can apply together, and students will be the beneficiaries for that, and at all levels, bachelor's, master and PhD as well. So everything will be fully funded, starting from let's say the air ticket to monthly stipend as well. We'll discuss more about the financial aspects in the later slides. So every time this, I'm getting questions about that. Okay, which subject areas they can apply, and probably this, let's say the all subject areas are eligible to apply for that particular funding, and there is no restriction on that. And moving on, so we mentioned that it is let's say the student and staff exchange mobility. So broadly we have two categories. One is student and the second one is staff. And within the student we have two categories. One is student mobility for studies, and the second is student mobility for traineeship. So what we are targeting here is student mobility for studies, is that bachelor's, master's and PhD, they all can go and spend some time at a European institution, and they will be receiving a per month stipend as well, along with the air ticket as well. So here we have the duration mentioned from 60 days to 12 months for short-term doctoral mobility or a part-time blended mobility, which means that okay, you wanted to do physical and virtual both. So in that case, you have let's say the particular duration for that. The second category is what we have is student mobility for traineeship. This is very interesting. This is not at the beginning they have started, but again they have started for example maybe in last few years. So what you can do with the traineeship, basically you can do the traineeship with companies. Earlier you don't have had earlier you never had the option of let's say doing the traineeship with the industries or let's say the companies. And but they have recently introduced, or let's say in the last few years they have introduced that opportunity for doing the traineeship with the industries. So this traineeship is recently introduced, as I mentioned earlier, and it is applicable for all bachelor, master, and PhDs as well. And this is pretty much, this great addition to this program, because you get an experience at a European industrial level. And for example, let's say if you are a bachelor student and you have some time maybe off after a semester, or maybe the final year project, or in the final semester you have 2 months or 3 months or 4 months before you graduate, you are still enrolled in that institute, for example in any university. Then you can do a traineeship which in a European organization industry any sort of the industry, depending on the subject area that let's say you have received the project or your university has received the project. So you can do the traineeship for a few months and you will be paid, let's say, by the fellowship as well. And that will be a massive addition to your portfolio or CV. Because for example, if you are coming from interior part of, let's say, from any country, Bangladesh or India, Pakistan, Bhutan, Nepal, any industry, if somebody is coming from there and have an additional experience at the end of, or let's say in somewhere in between the third or fourth year of their bachelor's degree, it will be a massive addition to their portfolio in order to get the particular, let's say, job. There could be situations where, some people came for some sort of mobility for a short duration. They worked with the industry, university, and they have been offered a full-time job as well. So this is a massive opportunity to utilize and capitalize, this whole period, and working with the professor or your advisor based in university or maybe sometimes in a company as well. Similarly, we will talk about their duration. The duration again lasts from 60 days to 12 months again, or 5 to 30 days for short-term doctoral mobility, or let's say the PA for the PhDs. So these are two mobilities for the students which are very important for them to grow at a good scale, and also at the same time they will be receiving the stipend and also the return air ticket as well, so which is, let's say, the massive thing. You don't have to pay anything. For the staff, there are two categories. One is teaching. You are coming for, let's say, teaching some, for conducting some workshop or taking some lectures. Maybe you have coordinated with your host university professor that, okay, you will be conducting few lectures of his or her module. That can be done. And also for training as well. Most of the trainings could be for the administrative people doing different administrative work. For example, if they are doing in an international office, you are doing maybe in a research office or some sort of administration work that could be done as well. And for them as well, they have some sort of a duration they can spend during that particular mobility period. So this is quite good, and also very interesting for number of people, student and staff both. For the staff, it is again good for that, okay, you build up your networking and you get to introduce, to European systems, and you talk with them about your research work and whatever, this leads to maybe applying for a bigger projects as well. So moving on from there, we can look into the countries eligible. So there are, so this list is based on the regions, and every region has some sort of, let's say, priorities as well. For example, Africa region has more priority, and they have allocated more budget to it. In the recent different Erasmus Plus programs, and also it is a bit easier to get, let's say, the fellowships with these partners as well. Apart from that, if you look into that, most competitive one is more or less the Asia region, where Bangladesh, Bhutan, also China, Korea, Pakistan, India, Nepal, the bigger population, falls into, and there is a massive competition there as well. So if you are based in one of the countries, then you have some sort of competition again, but relatively there are very good chances that your university get this particular fellowship. And there are some regions mentioned, and also within those regions you have some sort of countries. For example, you have USA, Canada, or for example in the Middle East you have UAE, Qatar, Saudi Arabia. These are high income countries. Those who are which are high income countries, they won't be paid by the European Commission. They should be paid by their own national funding organization, or maybe their university school. But if they collaborate with the European Institute will be paid only by the European Commission. And Middle East or USA, Canada, they have to, let's say, talk to their national funding agency, to get some sort of funding to run this particular project as well. So money matters. Of course, it's a very important part. We'll look into that. Okay, there are different categories. So European Commission have divided into different categories, and based on the unit cost. These are, the unit cost is very high. You will be getting 900 euros, and based on that, this list, you will be paid student monthly rate it is, and you will be getting 900 euros. And uh, in case of air travel, depending on the distance, distance means, this from your host to based in European university to your university based in home country as well. So if it is, 8,000 kilometer or more, you will be paid like this. And also, um, this is a massive amount to be covered for the air travel for sure. And student daily rate, if they are coming up for days, based on that, they will be paid like that. And also staff rate is there as well. For example, if you are moving to this country for a staff mobility, for example, from India or Pakistan or Nepal, Bhutan, you will be getting this particular amount 190, because they are a bit costly, and depending on that, they have set these numbers. Regarding the timelines, again, just wanted to mention that your university has to apply first. Once your university applies for that and the project approved, then the students can apply for this fellowship. And this is the standard procedure. For example, the application submission will open in November each year. This is tentatively, this typical month where the applications get open. And also the deadline will be in February, early February, first or second week, typically. And also the result will be announced in July or August. So, important note, these deadlines are for the universities or companies to apply for the funding, not for the students. For example, these university apply for the funding and they have received the funding. Then internally, your university will advertise these fellowships, and they will set their own deadline later, and which will be more flexible. This will be more flexible because they can do, let's say, the host institute based in European Union, and let's say the in home country, they will coordinate with each other to find a, let's say, suitable time for the student to travel and work. And this is more flexible over the duration of, let's say, typical duration is maximum duration is 36, typical duration is 24 to 36 months. So it is quite flexible for that. And my advice would be that, okay, ask your university professor. If you are based in non-EU, ask your university professor to contact professors based in Europe, and they can, let's say, talk to each other and submit this kind of project, so it will benefit the home countries to have time spent here in European Union institutes, or let's say the companies, and to have a different experience overall to your portfolio. So this will be the benefit for everyone, your professor based in home country, and also for yourself as well, for the European professor as well. So this is what it is, this very high level introduction about that, how you can do that. But I have summarized some, let's say, how you plan the submission. I have taken an example. For example, if your university based in non-EU country, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, or Bhutan, and your university professor has to talk with a professor based in European country. For example, to with Ireland. In my case, I'm based in Ireland. So, for example, let's say you can talk to me. Your professor can talk to me about that. Okay, this is the project. This is the subject. Let's write the project together. So they have to establish this connection, and they have to agree on the subject area that, let's say, where they want to work together. So you can have a conversation starting, and you can, let's say, build a consortium. So talking about the consortium is that minimum, let's say your home university, home country university, and one European institute, they can apply together. Or for example, if you have multiple institutes, maybe for example taking example of from India, uh, one university based in Gujarat, one based in MP, one based in Rajasthan, or wherever this. So three, four, five universities based in let's say India, along with one European institute, for example, based in Ireland, they can apply together to get the funding. And similarly, for example, if you are from Pakistan, for example, you can have multiple universities from Pakistan from different regions. You have Sindh or Punjab or let's say KP, and in this way you can apply. Let's say multiple universities can apply with the European Institute as well as European Commission industry as well. I mean the companies as well. You can apply. You can include the companies as a partner as well. So this is a bit not very common thing, but it's getting starting, and will be a great benefit for the students for sure to have a let's say experience of a company based in Europe. So you have to determine that okay, how much mobilities you need, for example, at the student level for bachelor, master, and PhD, and similarly how much staff mobilities you need. Staff, again, teaching and training, you have to categorize that, and also you have to categorize, mention the duration for how long you need for a particular mobility to last. So again, there is no limit to put let's say number of mobilities again, but the thing is that you need to justify based on your project that you want to do. So be careful that okay, putting a high number and that will be could be a negative point. So you have to justify the mobilities based on the cooperation. Once you are agree with a European professor or advisor or some employee from let's say from the industry based in European Commission or European Union, I mean, so you can let's say start working on the application form. Your European professor or European contact will provide you the application form, and you can work together on that, and you can fill it together, and your European partner will submit the application on your behalf, because that will be done by the European professor, not by any non-EU university or a country have the authority to, let's say, submit that. So European Union partner will submit the application on your behalf, and also once if the project approved, the whole amount, or let's say the whole budget, will be managed by the European Institute, which is your host, and you will be paid by them as well. So this is how you can plan your submission for this particular project, and which is pretty much very very interesting, and also not very much complicated, and also not very much for example competitive as compared to other European programs, for example the Horizon Europe. So we talked about this the number of things. Let's talk about the evaluation criteria. The evaluation criteria, basically you have 100 points, and you need to have 60 points at least this is at least you need to have 60 points. And also there are four categories. For example, they have divided the evaluation criteria into the relevance of the consortium, that has maximum score of 30. Similarly, quality of the consortium composition and cooperation arrangement, they have maximum score of 20. Quality of the consortium activity design and implementation, this has again 20 points, and impact and dissemination has 30 points. So all combined they have 100 points. You need to have at least 60, otherwise your project will be out. Along with, for example, if you have received 60, that doesn't mean that okay you will get the funding. It depends on the, let's say, the other, the threshold, and also the funding as well. And also there is a more one more condition along with that. That, for example, these four categories, and each category have a maximum score, like here 30, here 20, 20, and 30 again. So you need to have, let's say, 50% score at the least. For example, you need to have 15 here, you need to have 10 here, 10 here, 15 here again. Score points in each of the four award category must be half of the maximum score. Half, 30 for like 15, it will be, for example, consider that if you have 14 here, you have 20 here, 20 here, again you have 30 here. You pass the threshold, but you don't have, let's say, the half of the maximum score in one of the section. That means that you are not eligible for the funding. You won't be getting any sort of funding. So again, you have to work on these four categories in depth, in order to have, balanced score for each section. We'll talk about more about these criterias here, and let's move to the first one, the relevance of the proposal. For example, the okay, we have this section, relevance of the consortium, and I have divided into, into different categories for easiness. The relevance of the proposal. What does it mean? It needs to be included. The objective of the actions, and the needs and objective of the organization in the consortium and individual participants. So whatever the objectives are, depending on what you are choosing, the subject area and the whole thing, you need to have, this mention that as well. Promotion of shared EU values. EU has, different culture, dignity, freedom. They talk about that, this discrimination and everything, that need to be, let's say, included as well. And suitability of the proposal for producing high learning outcome for participants, of course, reinforcing the capacities and international scope of the participant organizations, bringing EU added value. So what outcomes will be for the student and staff, and what is the, let's say, EU added value, what European Union host will add value. For example, let's say, we'll say that, okay, if a student take an experience working at a European Union company, that would add a bigger, let's say, addition to his or her portfolio, and that could lead him or her to get a job full time in the European Union as well. So this is one of the biggest outcome as well, and that could be number of things that can be done. The second section, which has a maximum score of 20 points, which is quality of the consortium composition and cooperation arrangement. By looking into the name, let's say, it does give us, let's say, the hint that, okay, how you have composed your consortium, and also the cooperation arrangement, how you will, once the project is approved, how you will, let's say, coordinate with each other. For example, you have a consortium with, let's say, one woman university. You have a consortium with, let's say, one university based in a remote area back in India, Pakistan, or Nepal, Bhutan. Uh, and this is and also you have one medical university, one you have a engineering university. This is a kind of, this diverse consortium you have, and you come up with that, this, let's say, more active, or let's say more balanced consortium, which will add more values. And similarly, I have divided these all into different categories. For example, consortium composition, I have talked at a high level. Coordinator experience, for example, if you are applying any European institute, they have some sort of, let's say, previous experience or not. For example, uh, in the last 7 to 8 years, to my experience, I have, let's say, coordinated like 10 plus projects, and currently two projects are already going on as well, active projects. And in the past, we did so many projects with the different non-EU countries as well. And the cooperation arrangement, what are the roles and responsibilities? You how you can share the roles and responsibilities and the task and the everything, and also pooling and sharing. Tasks and resources are pooled and shared very balanced way with the European Institute and with the non-European Institute. Uh, the next category is management clarity. The responsibilities are clearly defined for contractual and financial management issues that need to be defined. Who will be doing what, who is what, and let's say who will be doing the specific work, and also the inclusion of newcomers. If you have some people which are let's say which are the I mean as a partner who are newcomers haven't let's say participated, that will be adding a more value to it to your consortium as well. So it's a plus point rather than having let's say a weak point. Again, as I mentioned, you need to have some sort of balanced consortiums, experience new ones, and you need to have some sort of balance in terms of the gender. For example, you have the women university, you have the medical university, you have the engineering university, some sort of diversity that needs to be uh, there as well. And also in terms of the project overall, if this the project is interdisciplinary and targeting different verticals, medical, engineering, automobile, or healthcare, or anything like that, that again will add a value to it, and it is again, a big benefit as well. So this is what you need to have, a balanced consortium and interdisciplinary area as well. And then this another section is quality of the consortium activities design and implementation. Again, how you have designed your activities, how you will be performing at what time, the timing, the timeline, and how you will implement at a different project duration. For example, if your project duration of 24 months or 36 months, it depends on how, let's say, what you mention, and what are the project duration requirements, depending on what you want to achieve with that. So I have divided the criteria into, let's say, different sections. For example, project phases, you need to define that, okay, the preparation phase, implementation phase, and the follow-up phase. How you can prepare the application, how you can prepare the project, how you can implement, and also how, let's say, once the project is finished and the outcome of the project is sustainable or not, how you keep up that thing intact as well, just a follow up with that. Practical arrangements and support. What are the practical arrangement and support that your university can provide in terms of the culture, accommodation, expenses, or let's say organizing some workshops, conferences, matchmaking with other, let's say, related people in your, let's say, European institute, or what are the language requirements, how they can be supported with that, everything that will be included into that as well. The cooperation and communication, how you can cooperate, coordinate, let's say, by email, Skype, Slack, or what medium will you use, and how actively you can use. Do you plan to have, let's say, some sort of activities, monthly basis, weekly basis, that need to be included as well. And this is what need to be done in this particular category. The recognition of learning outcomes, the quality of arrangement, recognition and validation of the participants' learning outcomes, and use of European transparency and recognition tools. How you can recognize all these, let's say, the learning outcomes that, let's say, the people will gain, either they are a student or a staff, that need to be included as well. Inclusion and selection measures, appropriateness of the participant selection measures, and promotion of participation by individuals with the fewer opportunities. Maybe there could be a possibility that, okay, your university is based in maybe metropolitan area, but the student or the staff have a background that is coming from, very interior, or let's say where there is a, let's say, lack of opportunities, people have. And that could be the possibility that, okay, you are giving the opportunity to people which are in much need. And also similarly, if your university is already based in, maybe, in those interior areas where the opportunities are not that much, so this is again, you need to mention, and they give, let's say, priority to that as well. And also some sort of additional budget as well. So very important in terms of the money as well. The impact and dissemination, again, what impact you make, economic, social, or whatever type of effect, that could be there as well. And also how you can disseminate the information. This is again very important. We all know that we use social media, X, LinkedIn, Facebook, or even Instagram and Slack, and all these things, that can also matter. Why newsletter or mailing list or anything that comes in, that okay, that could benefit. And also you need to have, let's say, evaluation measures. For example, the quality of measures for evaluating the outcomes of the consortium led activities, whatever, what metrics you will set to measure the outcomes of whatever the project are. So you need to define that as well. And also the project impact on the participant and organization during and after the project, external stakeholders at institution, local, regional, and national, international level. So measuring an impact and also is very important in terms of, let's say, the organization and individuals as well. There could be a possibility that okay, one student is coming, that student will be getting a full-time job. That could be a bigger impact. Organizations, there could be a possibility of this project will lead to, let's say, another bigger project in, let's say, Horizon Europe. You have the consortiums. There you can apply for the funding for the million of euros. That could be the possibility, or not even Horizon Europe. There could be any other funding that you can apply together. This is what you need to mention, and you need to take care of that as well. So this information is taken from the official guide of, let's say, European Commission. And here are some of the links that I have used, and you can use those, and I can put those links into the, let's say, a video description, and you can have those links and get a more information about it. I have mentioned, let's say, very high level information, how you can do that, who can apply, who can benefit, in terms of the students, staff, the country, regions. I have mentioned the how much money you will be getting, for how long. The companies can be involved also. The universities can be involved also. How you can plan your submission, the useful links, the important thing, this evaluation criteria that you need to have. And along with that, if you, let's say, want to, let's say, explore the more information, you can go through those links and can, let's say, look for more information. I'm sure that okay, there is enough information out there, in these guides. And you will possibly have more questions related to the different categories. And when you build your application, these links will help you. And for sure, just in case if, let's say, behind, let's say, after going through all these links, if you have any specific if you need any specific information, you have any specific questions, you want to discuss anything, you can write to me about that. And I mean specific information, not very generic questions. They all are already been discussed in this particular video, and also I have shared the links as well. I'm giving my email here as well, because I have, let's say, experienced this, and I have, let's say, been part of 10 plus projects as a principal investigator into that, and number of student and staff been coming here at our university as well. And therefore, if you need any some sort of support, for example, if you are a student, or if you are a university professor, or if you are a university international office, you need anything, any information to build this collaboration or participation to apply for the European funding for your students or for your staff, you can reach out to me at this email, which is